And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us this morning. For making y'all a part of your mornings there. The doing all right, Brian. Somebody in my comments on the Brad Sham show. Let me just give a little backstory. I'm talking to Brad Sham first and foremost, all right? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want
did a fine job. Did a fine job hosting with Brad Sham. Brad Sham really enjoyed being on with us, by the way, and he especially was very, and I'm not just saying this, very complimentary of your work.
Yeah, really. Shouts out to Brad Sham.
Brad has known me for a long time. He goes, I really enjoyed working with Voch. I go, well, you get to come back on again another time. And he goes, I'll absolutely do that. He goes, I enjoyed working with you guys.
That's hard. I mean, but that's Brad Sham. I mean, he's been your friend for 40 years, but I just met
a long time.
But I just met Brad Sham. So what I didn't know, somebody in my comments, they gave me a hard time about it, but I ain't take it that way because they're a friend of our show. But they was like, you know, Voch is rude that you didn't introduce Broaddus to the show. And I was like, I ain't introduced, like, what you mean introduce Broaddus? Because I didn't go to podcast school to do this, you know what I mean? But you supposed to introduce everybody on the show every time. I thought it was clear that Voch and Broaddus are a part of the doing all right, but Brad Sham is here now. So I was like, hey, if y'all don't know, that's Brad Sham. But somebody in the chat was like, Voch, that's rude as hell that you ain't introduced Broaddus to the show. I'm like, it's his damn show. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to my guy that's in the I forgot who said it. Shouts out to him, but Brian, I'm sorry I didn't introduce you to the Brad Sham show. My bad.
It's our show, man. It's all good. I could say Brad, I was glad to get him on. And I was especially happy because you and I are going to have the experience of working together and doing stuff at training camp. So I want to make sure that you meet as many people as possible. That's kind of my goal once we get there to kind of, okay, hey guys, this is Voch Lombardi, I mean, a lot of people know who you are and stuff, but they never met you face to face and stuff like that. So Brad, afterwards, like I said, I thanked him for coming on. I said, listen, I'll do that anytime. That's a good show you got there. And I go, well, thank you. We appreciate that. Got a great audience and they really appreciate you coming on. So he's we'll have more. You know, we got a lot of guests and stuff in the future we're working on, and it'll always be that way. And I'm excited that you got to meet him, and I look forward to all three of us standing there in Oxnard, watching practice, watching the goal line period, and kind of breaking it all down at the end of the day.
I'm watching O-line, D-line, man. Y'all can have.
Oh no, I will. It'll be actually pretty good. That'll be cool. You and I could split up.
Sure.
And you could go do the offense, defensive line stuff. I'll stay up with the skill guys.
Sure.
And that way we got we got eyes on practice, the whole practice.
It's going to be 1,000 people watching Dak and George Pickens. I'm fine. I want to go see what these big churn doing over here. So, you know,
I will be over there watching George Pickens and Dak then.
Man,
well, I mean, at night, it's got to be, you know, people are going to go, they're going to ask questions. They're going to go, well, what happened? You're going to go, well, what happened and, you know, maybe like, okay, one practice you watch O-line, D-line, and then next practice we switch.
I'm watching all of them. I'm watching all the O-line, D-line. Luigi Verlaine.
I should have known better. I should have known better because that's true. On our website on Crown Global Media, your bio has offensive line expert is what it is. It's the title. So I should know that you're going to leave me with the skill guys, but I'll be happy to carry the load. You can carry the offense and defensive linemen. I'll carry those skill guys for us.
Damn, boy, man, we was in the pre-show, Brian Bros. We talked a lot in the pre-show.
We did, about 30 minutes long.
And we talked, man. I'd have been asleep by now, but we was in the pre-show, man. Brian say, man, Voch Lombardi. Mm-hmm. You was like, Voch Lombardi. Is it any new mess in the streets? You know what I'm saying? Because you know we like good mess over here.
We like mess
on YouTube. I didn't get a chance to listen to the radio today. I was incredibly busy. I was doing bleach reporting, a film session, some other stuff. Dante Fowler film session coming, Brian, but it's cool.
Ooh.
I want to see why he got double-digit sacks last year, but he didn't get double digits with us. But anyway, boy, I saw this messy ass tweet on the internet, right? And it was from Duke Manyweather. He talking about our offensive linemen and BB and things. And boy, I was like, damn, boy, Duke Manyweather talking about the coaches on the staff, boy. I said, boy, some good mess here. And look, I didn't listen to the radio because I'm just so busy. I was talking to Brad Sham. Brian Broaddus said that y'all had the cat on the radio that wrote the article.
Yeah,
Brian, who this and what he said? Like who is this?
Well, yeah.
Who he worked for?
Yeah.
And what's this article about? Because I like good O-line miss.
Oh man, okay. Garrett's his first name. Gosh dang it, I apologize. And the poor guy's probably watching.
Damn,
look up his last. I always write down the first name of whoever
Padell.
Okay, Garrett Adele.
Padell.
It's not
from CBS
Padell?
Sports. From CBS Sports.
For CBS Sports. I'm sorry, Garrett. You did a fine job if you're happening to listen to our program, and thank you for doing that. By the way.
Yeah, shouts out.
But he took the opportunity to interview, kind of give you the background of where with Duke and how he's grown into this role of working with Dallas Cowboys offensive linemen, and how he started, and then how he was able to then Duke started working with Zach Martin, and then that gave him the catapult to the credibility. And Duke was, he took it and
that's Bennett, ain't that Bennett Broaddus? Ain't that Bennett?
Yeah, it looks like it. Garrett Podell. Yeah, Garrett did it. Garrett did a fine job today. I really appreciate him coming on 105.3 The Fan. If you want to, you could go back and listen to it on our Odyssey app after you listen to our show, of course, in the morning. Yeah. And but he was talking about how Duke and how he came to this rise. And this was one of the first years that Duke is working with all the linemen. So, and then how Duke has become, the coaches. He met with the coaches in June and got like they're all on the same page. So it's like the coaches are encouraged by the players working with Duke, and Duke has not always had that luxury. He never had. So Garrett was really, talking about what Duke and what he's trying to do. And, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's trying to, they work on technique, footwork, hand placement, all the stuff that, old offensive linemen like you and I did for a long time, And so, but it was really super positive of the story. And then also the conversations that we had, and how that Duke has really embraced working. And his very first client was Lane Johnson. Is the first one he started working with. And we all know what a great athlete Lane Johnson is. Here's a guy all pro, but still needs technique work with his hands, hand placement, feet, all that stuff. So Duke's just super excited about having the support of the Cowboy coaches, but also being able to work with all and Garrett was even talking about that there was some questions that Duke put out a tweet about Guyton, and it kind of maybe taken as him and Guyton were, passing in the night here. And no, it was really just an offensive line coach's way of saying, well, hey, this guy's going to pick it up. He's got to pick it up. He's got to get better at it. It's up to him. I can only, the old saying, you can take a horse to water, you can't teach it to drink. That's what he was trying to say. And Duke was saying, listen, that's a big misconception. There was not a problem between myself and Guyton. It's just, I was trying to encourage him that it's up to him. He's the one. And even Guyton has made adjustments to the way he works now. And so that part of it is very, very encouraging for Cowboy fans. I did ask Garrett this question though, Voch. And I asked him, I said, do you feel like that if there's a competition, or is there going to be a competition at left tackle with Guyton and Austin Richards? He said he didn't think so.
I actually agree with him, Brian. And
I really don't want to because of the new coaching staff. But if you're telling me, and a guy who's in the middle of that, I want to believe that we're going to, because of the new coaching staff, I want to believe that coaches will play their best players. I want to believe that. And if Awesome Richard shows up better while you and I are standing there watching practice, and he shows up better in the preseason games, and Guyton is maybe at or below average, please don't tell me you're going to put that player out there if somebody else is playing better. Well, especially with a new staff. But you're going to tell me why that's not going to happen.
Well, Brian Broaddus, the first thing, and I love to ask you this question. This question is a staple of the Doing All Right show. How good does Awesome Richards have to be? Guyton is going to be rolled out there first. He's going to be given all the opportunities. He's got first round pick equity baked into him. And he just got here last year, so he got a long time and a fifth-year option attached to him, right? If they are both neck and neck, if it's 50-50.
If it's 50-50, I get it.
The job's going to Guyton.
No question.
I think if it's 60-40 Richards, I think the job go to Guyton. I think it's going to have to be a catastrophe for Awesome Richards to take Guyton's job. And I tell you why, Brian Broaddus. Chuma Edoga was better than Guyton all year. But it took a catastrophe for them to play Chuma Edoga over Tyler Guyton. And it was so catastrophic Tyler Guyton got healthy and Chuma Edoga kept playing over Tyler Guyton. I don't think such a catastrophe can happen now that Awesome Richards just takes the job. If anything, Brian, what'll happen is they may look over at Terrence that's costing some money and they'll be like, hey, Awesome, you played the right side in college. How does that feel? So when we watch OTAs and minicamp, and we'll see it in training camp, bros, we'll see Tyler Booker on the left side. We'll see Awesome Richards on the right side. You know, we may mess around and see Cornelius on the left side just to kind of see what they could do.
Yeah.
If we
Thomas at right tackle, yeah.
Now when we start seeing seeing strange characters pop up at right tackle, then we can have a conversation about Terrence Steele, because Terrence Steele is costing you. He ain't breaking the bank, but he's costing money. Mm-hmm. And I think if you can find a guy that could take Terrence's job, I think that makes a little more sense. But they love cheap players. Brother Steven will tell you, I love a cheap player. I love a first-round pick. So what they going to do, Brian, is they going to make us watch Mozzie, and they going to make us watch Tyler Guyton. And it's going to have to be a catastrophe for them to come off the field.
Man, I'll tell you what, totally understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. If I was in that personnel office.
Oh, if it was you, please. If your last name was Jones, the best man win. They both young guys.
I don't believe in playing a guy just because he's a first round player. Sure. If a guy now, if you tell me it's 50-50, I'm good. Mm-hmm. You tell me it's 60-40, okay. You tell me it's 70-30, don't talk to me anymore.
And then look,
I am not interested in feelings or first round grades at this point.
That's how the Eagles do, Brian. That's how the Eagles do.
If we're scouts and we're watching it and we're being honest with ourselves, and we're watching those, you and I are breaking down a weekly basis those preseason games. Yeah. And it looks like that Guyton is not getting that job done, and they roll him out there against Philadelphia. You deserve what you get if you're the Dallas Cowboys, if that's the case. And I'm going to say this about any player. I'm going to say this about any one of those guys. Mm-hmm. That's what always gives me hope with a new coaching staff, that they're not married. They're not married to these guys that way. Now they're married to the guys that just got drafted, but they're not married to some of these guys. And I can't stand it. Listen, if we busted on Guyton, we busted on Guyton. You know, we missed it. That's it. We missed it. Yeah. We didn't get a plug and play guy here. Yeah. But if we go out there and all of a sudden it's, we with our own eyes, you could see it with your own eyes. Yeah. You're coming back. You and I are doing nightly shows from training camp. Yeah. You're like, Brian, let me tell you what happened one-on-one today. And, let me tell you why it happened today. And I'll be like, okay, well, how did anybody else? Oh, well, hey, Awesome Richard showed up. Thomas showed up. Guys, if you're telling me that every day that we're out at camp watching practice, and they end up starting a guy that hasn't because he's a first round pick, then they get what they deserve. They absolutely get what they deserve there.
Yeah. Brian, looking at Garrett Padell's article, he actually got Duke to give details on what he's working on with our 5 guys up front, which I think is a fantastic tidbit here. And what he has up here, because I don't want this ad to be playing over here in the NFL. Chops our video here. For Tyler Guyton, it says area of focus, posture, strength, and balance in his stance. Brian, the one thing that we always talk about with Guyton is like when he's holding or when he's leaning, lunging, and he's not postured well, not sitting back in the stance and bending at the knees very well. So at least what this says to me, Brian, is that they working, and if they working, they got a shot. I know there was some people that are like, why should we be listening to Duke Manyweather anyway? Me and Foots got into a big, and I only really said Foots' name because I love him. Why we believe in anything that Duke Manyweather say? Dude, what happened with Tyler Guyton last year? Duke's wins are much higher than his losses. I saw Tyler Smith roll out at left tackle week 1, his rookie campaign, when I thought his hands was bad and he was fine. Yeah. At least seeing Tyler Guyton working with Duke Manyweather for year 2, I feel decent about it, Brian. I feel decent. He just need more reps. He need more time in the fire, Brian. But if he shows out there and it's a catastrophe, then we'll roll with Austin.
I like what you're saying here.
Yeah,
I do.
You got to see it though. You want to see.
Well, yeah. Me is the, if I'm seeing one guy. But you put it well. If it's 50-50, tie goes to the guy that's getting the job first or getting the opportunity first.
Yeah.
So yeah. The thing wasn't one of the things at Oklahoma that you had a problem with Guyton was how upright he plays?
He was very tall and he had a lot of false steps. When you 6'7", you just can't be tall for no reason. And then he had a bunch of false steps. He's not bending at the knees very well.
No, he doesn't. He really struggles with that aspect of his game. Yeah. So I was like, because you see like the really, like it even had a problem with our LSU tackle.
Leah.
Campbell from this year. He played.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays real tall. Remember he's playing real tall and they're like, how can he get away with that? He's got really good feet, But posture, working on posture. And that's knee bend is what that is.
Man, Brian, you just scroll through this article, boy. It's a mess up here. And don't nothing get past my eyes, Brian.
Oh, I know.
Don't nothing get past my eyes because I love me some good mess, Brian. Brian, he started breaking down Cooper Beebe. I skipped over the Tyler Smith section. I'll read that later. I got a lot of faith in Tyler Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of know what the business is with Booker. He just got here. I've watched a ton of film on Booker like a month ago. I feel good about Book. He started talking about Beebe, Brian. You know what I mean? And what they're working on with Beebe is more reps and better utilization of his offhand. So if we snapping with this one, this your offhand.
Right.
Getting hands on folk immediately while you bringing your snap hand back up. Brian, I get to the end of this little passage here. The good news for BB is that Riley, the offensive line coach, Connor Riley, was his coach at Kansas State. Working with Riley and Manyweather and having another year at center, he could make the leap. Brian, they got a quote from Duke right here. Duke said something. That's what the little quotation marks mean.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was moved to center, and he really didn't have detailed coaching or development in season for making that transition. Now, hold on, Brian. Let me just put the shit on the screen so people, because people think I'm missing. I should be making shit up.
No.
He was moved to center, and he didn't really have detailed coaching or development in season. He probably should put an F right there for making that transition.
Yeah.
Brian, Man, look, boy, we are critical of them coaches, boy. We get on them coaches, boy, and it can't be a mystery that a whole bunch of bad shit happened at once. Terrence Steele kind of having a bad year after he had a really good year. Tyler Smith having one of his worst years after he's been consistently good. BB did fine, but according to Manyweather, BB could have been better. Think about how weird it was for Zach Martin, too. Like, he was hurt, but we ain't never seen Zach Martin look that bad. Guyton having a bad year, Brian Broaddus.
Yeah.
Even also, Brian, we used to think at least a little more of TJ Bass. You remember there was a point where we was thinking highly of TJ Bass? Last year, we was like, Bass
should have been drafted. Should have been drafted. TJ Bass should have been drafted, right?
Last year, we was like, man, TJ Bass ain't do nothing. I think you got to put a bunch of clues together. When you see a bunch of shit happening all at once, I think you got to put your clues together. And I ain't saying that everything that Manyweather say is correct, because I don't know. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's saying that and it matches up with our analysis on what happened with the offensive line last year.
Yeah. Totally agree. I think there were clearly gaps in what was being taught and how the players were adjusting to it in games. I think that some guys were able to overcome. I think Cooper Beebe overcame a lot to play as well as he did. And again, the video you did with the combo blocks and stuff kind of show how he got better. Something you need to go watch. And I think some guys, I think at the end were kind of like, okay, you see some guys just kind of going into what I call survival mode, going into like, listen, they're trying to teach us this, but we need to do this.
Yeah.
And listen, Mike Solari, hey, longtime NFL offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Need to be better.
Their rent was due.
Need to be better, and good for you, man. You got some more pension, you got some more money, you put it away. Now now you go back to Northern California and sit at the house and, when people call you up and you want to, hey, coach, break down this, break down that. Yeah, you could do that, because you had a long career in the National Football League. But there comes a point in time, too, where you have to teach these guys. That's the great thing about Bill Callahan, old running game Moses.
Yeah.
I mean, some of him, Hudson Houck, who used to be here, Tony Wiley. I mean, they've had some badass offensive line coaches.
Yeah.
But they've had some duds, though, too. Paul Alexander was a dud. Mark Colombo, I think, for a player adapting to coaching, did a fine job. But times pass you by.
Yeah. Times
pass you by, and the players, they need to be taught a different way. And I'm not talking about coddling them and stuff, but look what Jeff Southland does with the Eagles. Shit, they fire coaches. They fire coaches over there, and they're like, "Nah, Southland's staying." They get rid of offense. No, Southland's staying.
Yeah.
You find you an offensive line coach that, and Todd Archer and I've had this discussion many a day. Offense, defensive coordinator, very important. Offensive line coach, maybe the most important position on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
You have a bad one, it shows. It shows. And listen, do I think the Cowboys overall, do you blame it all on Mike Solari? No. But can you blame a fair share of it? Yeah. Can you blame the players? Yeah. But Duke, listen, if they try to plug and play BB, and BB, to his credit, played at a solid level, played at a good level. The offhand stuff, you know how that is. I was a former center. Yeah. When people, with what they'll do is people like to attack your snap hand, because you can't, when you snap, you get your offhand up, but linemen are smart to attack your snap hand because you can't get it up fast enough to get it inside. So you got to be able to stab with your offhand, then get your snap hand up. Yep. And but if they're not working on that, if they're technical things, like some of his second level blocks early, he wasn't getting up. You watch him at Kansas State as a guard, he's getting up second level. And at center, he's kind of not sure. He gets hooked up. He gets turned. I mean, there were so many things that technique-wise, you're like, God, man, this guy could be good, but he's learning on the fly right now.
Sure.
He is learning on the fly. And the thing that I'm encouraged by is you have 2 offensive line coaches now here. 2 offensive line coaches. Yeah. And I think both of them, I think all so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing at camp how it all plays out. But I have yet to hear anybody talk about, well, when Paul Alexander was here, you could hear Tyron Smith and those guys in the building were like, high hand, low hand. What? No, whoa, no. What are we doing? No. How do we? Okay, we'll try it. And then halfway through the season, they're like, nah, we're not doing this crap anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, finally,
and as soon as Paul Alexander got fired, the offensive line got better.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, I think Mike Solari, hey, thank you for your service, but you know what? I'm happy they've got 2 new line coaches. Yeah. I'm very happy by that.
Yeah. I think that's the most part that that makes me have a positive outlook on it, is that your OC is an O-line guy that was in demand, and the actual O-line coach is an O-line guy that was in demand. Yeah. Apparently there's a third guy with a really difficult name that I can't think of right now. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's supposed to be really, really good.
Matter of fact, it's supposed to be good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Holdover from the old staff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a young and up and coming coach.
Right.
I just haven't seen his name enough, and it's very difficult that I can't remember. Right. But he's a bad boy too, apparently. And they was all kind of working with Duke and getting on the same page and stuff. So I'm really encouraged, Brian. I'm really encouraged because I've seen these guys play well before, except Guyton. I ain't seen Guyton. Well, Guyton had a damn Brian. Now Guyton had this damn training camp practice. This handful of practices where he's smoking the hell out of Micah Parsons, bro. If you could pull that out, that couple of practices that we saw where Guyton was like really impressive, if you could find a way to pull that out, I'm handing Duke Manyweather $20 right now, and we should all just come together and just hand him some bread. Because if you can make Guyton consistently that's the only thing that we're worried about. And look, when I say we, I mean Voch and Brian. We've come on the show and says that we're probably going to lean into left tackle with how the rest of this offensive line or this offense works. It's kind of living or dying by Guyton or whatever. If Duke can make Guyton that dude that was whooping Mike at practice for a couple of practices and we ain't see it no more, if he can consistently do that, Brian, it's over with. It's over with if he can bring that guy back.
Yeah. I was looking up on Chat GPT of offensive line coaches, and they gave me all the offensive line coaches that have ever coached with the Cowboys. Yeah. Instead of just looking up, I was trying to find I was looking for assistant coaches. I should have been looking for. Is what I should have.
Hey man, the AI messing, man. You could just type in who are the 3 Cowboys offensive line coaches or something.
I could have done that. Instead, I just said Cowboys offensive line coaches. And I got them all. I got them all going all the way back to back to the day.
You are an old man getting better at technology, Brian. Don't worry.
Frank Verducci. Yeah, how about that? Frank Verducci.
See, that's one of them names that you and Sham brought up at the end of the show that I didn't know who y'all were talking about, but it is what it is. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. You know what I mean? Y'all be sure.
Are you encouraged? Well, let me ask you real quick,
please,
before we go.
Hell yeah.
Happy about Duke working with all the guys.
Hell yeah.
Big improvement when you get to camp.
Hell yeah. I think Duke matters. I think
Duke matters too. I do.
And honestly, think about it like this, right? Them working with Duke, you still have to see the results. You know what I'm saying? So you really can't make a determination right now. But what it does say, and I'm just talking about Guyton right now, what it does say is that Guyton got enough damn sense to go, I need help, let's go find it. That's what matters the most to me. Now the fact that the fact that they all there, that's good for continuity. But Booker been there, Smith, BB, those guys are there. Terrence, they're all there. If there's anybody that I had issues with, Brian, we've seen great talent be swept away by not willing to work. Like if there was a cornerback guru that Kelvin Joseph could have gone to, he wouldn't have went to him. He wouldn't have went because some guys just ain't got that in them. I don't look Mozzie. I'm waiting on the Mozzie off-season training footage so I can feel good about him. You know what I'm saying? But at least Guyton is going, all right, there's the best in the business. He crossed the street. You know what I'm saying? Let me go over there and let's put a plan together. The other guys are there. The rest of the guys are there. So now that's even more continuity that we're working on together. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's encouraging for sure.
I am super encouraged by that. I'm super encouraged by the coaches. I still have no idea how the scheme is going to be. I still don't know that. I still don't know. It's first time in, I mean, maybe go all the way back to Wade Phillips, you know, before to kind of figure out what's this offensive scheme going to be?
Sure.
You know, what's it going to be? Because usually at this time of year, I have an idea. This is how they're going to attack people.
Right.
I really have no idea.
As long as we ain't running dragons.
Yeah.
Long as we ain't running upfield and turning around. Yeah. As long as we ain't giving the ball to the worst running back on the field. As long as we working vertical to some capacity. If Turpin's going to get involved, as long as he's not doing jet sweeps every play and getting caught in the backfield. If Turpin looks good at running back, put Turpin back in the backfield. You know what I'm saying? As long as we doing things, Brian, I'm a camera microphone YouTuber. That's a couple thousand away from 100,000, Brian.
Yeah.
And I just gave you a long list of ways the Cowboys could have been successful on offense. Run a little no huddle type stuff.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I got the answers. Schottenheimer's answers are probably going to be better than mine.
I hope so.
So I feel encouraged.
I hope so. I do too. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
No doubt, big dog. Hey, man, y'all be sure to follow me at VOCHLOMBARDI. Now, Brian don't want me to see the studio till he's finished. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a perfectionist. I can't look at the website. I can't look at the studio. I can't get my damn car. Boy, I can't get my parking pass.
Your office looks good, man.
I wouldn't know shit. Brian don't want me to step into the office till the carpet's done being shampooed. I respect that, Brian. You want me to be blown away with my first trip into the office.
I want you to walk in that. I want you to see all the artwork and pictures and things that I've got going, man. I want you to be able to reach in that machine, get you a bottle of water, go to your office, put your feet up, turn your 2 TVs on, and go to work.
Now, Brian, we don't drink bullshit water. Now, you know what I'm saying? My water expensive. You know what I'm saying? So,
I know. I know you. I know you high end. I've got to take an 8th job just to afford you at training camp to feed you. I know
that is true. Brian, you was sitting right next to me in D League. You know how I get down.
I'll tell you what, man, that was impressive. I still that the all-time. If someone ever asked me the all-time meal you've ever seen anybody order, I will re-bring that one up. But man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Look forward to hey, guest tomorrow. We got Tuesday guest tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a phone call, see where we at with it, and if I can't come up with nobody, I'll pass the baton to you.
Give me the baton. Yeah, I'll go for it.
We'll do it like that.
Sounds good.
But yeah, follow BRY and Broaddus for the updates, and we'll let y'all know when it all goes down. And y'all can follow me on Instagram because I'm posting stuff on Instagram. I did a John Wick photo shoot today, Brian Broaddus. I was so impressed with it. Shouts out to my guy Cam. Y'all will be seeing that soon. All right, y'all hold down for the Doski Woski, man. Until next time. All right, crown.